Recently, Nancy Duarte and Guy Reynolds showed us a way to understand presentations. Nancy's presentation landscape consists of two orthogonal axes. On the first one, we have formal versus informal as descriptors. A formal one, says Nancy, is where you put your game face on, where your presentation really counts. The informal one is somewhat less important, perhaps a discussion amongst colleagues, and that's where the presentation takes place. The horizontal axis, on the other hand, is something about the presentation itself, from a very formal kind of presentation where you may use the full multimedia equipment you have versus what Guy Reynolds has called a slidegement, basically your PowerPoint slides printed out, much like we see in academic situations. Let's have a look at a couple of examples. Here, for instance, is Kevin Mitnick. Where do you think his presentation, as this picture illustrates, might go? It's a formal presentation. It's using slides, and clearly it ought to go into the top right-hand quadrant. Here's another presentation that probably belongs in the same place. Here is someone presenting the latest Panasonic notebook, probably at a CES. Formal presentation, game face on, goes over also into the right-hand corner. How about this illustration? Here's a college professor giving a lecture to his students. It's clearly going to use PowerPoint or some other form of visual presentation. So perhaps it stays here in the left-hand corner as a slidegement, but also has certain formality to it. Why? Because there's a power imbalance between the professor and the students. We know who's running the show. In this example, which is a research report, perhaps it starts in the lower corner as a slidegement presented informally amongst a group of colleagues before perhaps being prepared for a later presentation where it might be somewhat more formal and of course using slides as well. So that covers three particular quadrants. There is a fourth one, which is an informal but full-on presentation, and I'll leave you to guess what sort of presentation might go in there.